today's reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. We continue where we left off yesterday. That's third canto, 7th chapter, verse 36. But before that, as always, we will recite Anima Stotra of Sanatana Swami. Sarva Shastra Vibhusha, Sarva Jaka Sattva, Sarva Sikana Ratlavya, Sarva Lokaya Dilprata, Sarva Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam Prabhu, Kadipanto Dikalitya, Sri Krishna Parivartita, Aravananda Patnaya, Premavasha Jadini, Sarvanda Sarvasya Jaya, Sri Krishna Namaste, Adhika Vandana Sanghi, Madhuruna Mahadana, Pamishtara Kamarya, Madhurana Nostri, Sadhu Sarvadayim, Akini Chotakara, Alama Chakra, Chinam, Vengali, Kantalyukura. Translation. On nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, reach mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you're the only hero of sight to all the worlds. For life air of all the supreme lords devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you're the sun risen in the darkness of color, you're the exact image of Sri Krishna. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great love, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. O bestower of saintliness and unsaintly, O exalted of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart, in my voice of pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Welcome again to the execution of Bhagavatam. Was the end of chapter 7, entitled Further Inquiries by the Guru in the text. Translation. O best among the Brahmanas, those who are spiritual masters are very kind to the meek. They are always kind to their followers, disciples and sons, and without being asked by them, the spiritual master describes all that is knowledge. Therefore, there are many subjects to be known from the bona fide spiritual master. The followers, disciples, and sons are all on the one level with the bona fide spiritual master, and he is always kind to them and always speaks to them on some certain subjects, even though he is not asked by them. That is the nature of the bona fide spiritual master. Vidura appealed to Maitreya to speak on subjects about which he might not have asked. 47. Please describe how many dissolutions there are of the elements of material nature, and who so much of the dissolutions to serve the Lord while he is asleep. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita 5:47 and 48, he said that all the material manifestations of the innumerable universe disappear with the breathing of Mahavishnu, lying in yoga or mystic sleep. There's long verses here. So the translation, Govinda, the ultimate and supreme personality of God, Lord Krishna, who lies sleeping unlimitedly on the causal ocean in order to create unlimited numbers of the universe during that sleep. He lies on that on the water by his own eternal potency, and I worship that original supreme God. And the second verse, due to his breathing, innumerable universes come into existence, and when he withdraws his breath, there occurs the dissolution of all the lords of the universes. That plenary portion of the supreme Lord is called Mahavishnu, and he is part of the Lord Krishna, or Lord Govinda, the original Lord. After the dissolution of the material manifestations, the Lord and his kingdom beyond the causal ocean do not disappear, nor do the inhabitants, the Lord's associates. The associates of the Lord are far more numerous than the living entities who have forgotten the wisdom of material association. The personalist explanation of the word aham in the 4 verses of the original Bhagavatam Aham, Ivagre, etc. is refuted here. The Lord and his associates remain after the dissolution. If the word is inquiring about such persons is a clear indication of the existence of all the paraphernalia of the Lord. This is also confirmed in the Kashi Khanda, as quoted by both Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, who footsteps of Srila Sridhar Swami. Nyachavadeki yatvatvam mahatyam rayatari ochuto okay saika saragolya. The devotees of the Lord never annihilate their individuals, even after the dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord and the devotees who associate with Him are always eternal, in both the material and spiritual world. Text 38. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of God? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge or in the Vedas? What are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Third point. The living entities are constitutionally servitors of the Lord, who can accept all kinds of service from everyone. It is clearly declared by Bhagavad Gita 5:9, the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of the benefits of all sacrifices and penances, the proprietor of all that is manifested, and the friend of all living entities. That is his real identity. Therefore, when the living entity accepts his supreme proprietorship of the Lord and acts in that attitude, he resumes his real identity. In order to elevate the living entity to this standard of knowledge, there is a necessity of spiritual association. The bona fide spiritual master desires that his disciples know the process of rendering transcendental service to the Lord, and the disciples also know that they have to learn about the eternal relationship between God and the living entity from a self-realized soul. To disseminate transcendental knowledge, one must retire from mundane activities on the strength of enlightenment in knowledge in terms of Vedic wisdom. That is the sum and the substance of all the questions in this verse. Very nice. What does devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge? How could one have knowledge, devotional service, and detachment without the help of such devotees? Report. There are many inexperienced persons who advocate self-realization without the help of the spiritual master. They decry the necessity of the spiritual master and try themselves to take its place by propagating the theory that the spiritual master is not necessary. Srimad Bhagavatam, however, does not approve this viewpoint. Even the great transcendental scholar Vyasadeva had need of the spiritual master, and under the instruction of his spiritual master Nanda, he prepared his sublime literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Even Lord Chaitanya, although he is Krishna himself, accepted the spiritual master. Even Lord Krishna accepted the spiritual master, Sandipani Muni, in order to be enlightened. And all the acharyas and saints of the world had spiritual masters. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna accepted Lord Krishna as his spiritual master, although there was no necessity of such a formal declaration. So in all cases, there is no question about the necessity of accepting the spiritual master. The only stipulation is that the spiritual master should be bona fide, that is, the spiritual master must be in the proper chain of succession, called the Parampara system. Suris are great scholars, but they may not always be anaga or spotless. The anaga suri is one who is a pure devotee to the Lord. Though not pure devotees to the Lord, or who wants to be on an equal level with him, are not anaga suri. Maybe it's a puri before? Maybe it's a puri. Anaga suri. Pure devotees have prepared many books of knowledge on the basis of authorized scriptures. Srila Rupa Goswami and his assistants, under the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have all written various literatures for the guidance of prospective devotees. Anyone who is very serious about raising himself to the standard of a pure devotee of the Lord must take advantage of those literatures. My dear sage, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the possible Hari, the Supreme Personality of God. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision. forward many varieties of questions to understanding the principles of transcendental loving service to the Lord. Test 41. Devotional service to the Lord is one, and the mind of the devotee is not diverted to many branches of uncertainties. Vidura's purpose was to be situated at service to the Lord, wherein one merges undivertedly. He claimed the friendship of Maitreya Muni, not because he was Maitreya's son, but because Maitreya was actually the friend who had lost his spiritual vision and materially was spotless form. There's all these questions to grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances.
Here we just question, what is penance? What is penance?
Some hardship.
Hardship, okay.
Yeah. It's the old word, and actually that comes is I like to make the dictionary. It talks about Christian penance. Like desire to be forgiven. So you can actually desire to be forgiven.
Yeah.
That's
Like it's a soul, right? It's a soul service.
service. You do some like hardship, something you wouldn't normally do. It's just
Yeah.
okay. Just want to see the word in this tapa. Tapa penance or austerity. Tapa. Yeah. Austerity. Meditation.
Yeah.
Fasting. The highest perfection of world charity is to give in general on the anxieties of material existence. This only by performing activities in devotional service to the Lord. Such knowledge is incomparable, for the knowledge in the best performance of sacrifice and distribution of munificent charities altogether cannot form even a part of being from the pangs of material existence from devotional service. The charity of Maitreya will help Vidura, but to its universal nature, but deliver all others in all things. 42. Sri Rama said that the chief of the sages, who was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of God, of the Puranas, being so infused by Vidura, he was very much enlivened by speaking of the transcendent activities of the purport. Great learned sages like Maitreya Muni are always very enthusiastic about describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Maitreya Muni, being thus invited by Vidura to speak, appeared to be smiling because he actually felt transcendental bliss. Thus ends the purpose of third canto, seventh chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam titled Further Inquiries by Vidura. So moving on to the 8th chapter. Titled Manifestations of Brahma from Prabhupada Vishnu. So my family will start now answering the questions, many questions Vidura asked, and here we will hear this famous how Brahma appeared.
What is the meaning of Karbo Vishnu? Like some different form?
It's one of the forms of Krishna. It's the three pollution avatars. Prabhupada Krishna Vishnu, the one that lays in the causal ocean.
Yeah.
And Brahma kind of stands out.
Yeah. From the
So here will be actually this way. Verse number 1. sage Maitreya said to Vidura, the royal dynasty of King Puru is worthy to serve pure devotees, because all the descendants of that family are devoted to the personality of God. You are also born in that family, and it is wonderful that because of your faith, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are becoming newer and newer every moment. Purport. The great sage Maitreya thanked Vidura and praised him by reference to his family glories. The Puru dynasty was full of devotees of the personality of God and was therefore glorious, because they were not attached to impersonal Brahman or to the localized Paramatma, but were directly attached to Bhagavan, the personality of God. They were worthy to render service to the Lord and his true devotees. Because Vidura was one of the descendants of that family, naturally he engaged in spreading wide the ever-new glories of the Lord. Maitreya felt happy to have such glorious company as Vidura. He considered the company of Vidura most desirable, because such association can accelerate one's dormant capacities for devotional service. Text 2. Let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavata Purana, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of God, for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries for the sake of very little pleasure. Report. The sage Maitreya proposed to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam because it was especially compiled and traditionally comes down in specific succession for the solution of all the problems of human society. Only one who is fortunate can have the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Under the spell of material energy, the living entities are entrapped in the bondage of many difficulties, simply for the sake of a little bit of material happiness. They engage in fruitive activities, not knowing the implications. Under the false impression that the body is the self, the living entities foolishly relate to so many false attachments. They think that they can engage with materialistic paraphernalia forever. This gross misconception of life is so strong that a person suffers continually, life after life, under the external energy of the Lord. If one comes in contact with the book Bhagavatam, as well as the devotee Bhagavatam, who knows that what the Bhagavatam is, then such a fortunate man gets out of the material entanglement. Therefore, Sri Maitreya Muni, out of compassion for the suffering man in the world, proposes to speak on the Srimad Bhagavatam first and last. Text 3. Some time ago, being inquisitive to know, Sanat Kumara, the chief of the boy saints, accompanied by other great sages, inquired exactly like you about the truths regarding Vasudeva, the Supreme, from Lord Sankarsana, who is seated at the bottom of the universe. Purport. This is in clarification of the statement where the Lord spoke directly on the Srimad Bhagavatam. When and unto whom the Bhagavatam was spoken is explained herewith. Questions similar to those put forward by Vidura were asked by great sages like Sanat Kumara and Lord Sankarsana in plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Answer. Text 4. At that time Lord Sankarsana was meditating upon his Supreme Lord, whom the learned esteem as Lord Vasudeva. But for the sake of the advancement of the great learned sages, he slightly opened his lotus-like eyes and began to speak. Next 5. The sages came from the highest planets down to the lower region through the water of the Ganges, and therefore the hair of the elephants was wet. They touched the lotus feet of the Lord, which are worshipped with various paraphernalia by the daughters of the circled king when they desire good husbands. Purport. Ganges water flows directly from the lotus feet of Vishnu, and its course runs from the highest planet of the universe down to the lowest. The sages came down from Satyaloka, but taking advantage of the flowing water, a process of transportation made possible by the power of mystic yoga. If a river flows thousands and thousands of miles, a perfect yogi can at once transport himself from one place to another simply by dipping in its water. The Ganges is the only celestial river which flows throughout the universe, and great sages travel all over the universe via this sacred river. The statement that their hair was wet indicates it was directly moistened by the water originating from the lotus feet of Vishnu, Ganges. Whoever touches the water of the Ganges with his head surely touches the lotus feet of the Lord directly and can become free from all effects of sinful acts. If after taking a bath in the Ganges or being washed of all sins, a man guards himself against committing further sinful acts, then certainly he is delivered. But if he again takes up sinful activities, his bath in the Ganges is as good as that of an elephant who nicely takes his bath in the river, but later spoils the whole thing by covering himself with dust on the land.
He mentioned also one of the book. I think the same thing.
Yeah, it's example. It's actually an expression, Sanskrit expression which I cannot remember that indicates this. This fallacy.
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Technical issues.
Yeah.
Text 6, chapter 8, Canto 3. Translation. The four Kumaras, headed by Sanat Kumara, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorified the Lord in rhythmic accents and selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Sankarsana, with his thousands of raised hoods, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stone of his head. Purport. The Lord is sometimes addressed as Uttama Shloka, which means one who is worshipped with selected words by devotees. A profusion of such selected words comes from a devotee who is fully absorbed in affection and love for the devotional service of the Lord. There are many instances in which even a small boy who was a great devotee of the Lord could offer excellent prayers in the choicest words for glorification of the pastimes of the Lord. In other words, without the development of fine affection and love, one cannot offer prayers to the Lord very suitably. Text 7. Lord Sankarsana thus spoke the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam to the great sage Sanat Kumara, who had already taken the vow of renunciation. Sanat Kumara also, in his turn, when inquired of by Sankyayana Muni, explained Srimad Bhagavatam. He had heard it from Sankarsana. Purport. This is the way of our system. Although Sanat Kumara, the well-known great saintly Kumara, was in the perfect stage of life, still he heard a message of Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Sankarsana. Similarly, when he was questioned by Sankyayana Rishi, he spoke to him the same message he had heard from Lord Sankarsana. In other words, unless one hears from the proper authority, one cannot become a preacher. In devotional service, therefore, 2 items out of the 9, namely hearing and chanting, are most important. Without hearing nicely, one cannot preach the message of Vedic knowledge. Text 8. The great sage, Sankyayana, was the chief amongst the transcendentalists, and when he was describing the glories of the Lord in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, it so happened that my spiritual master, Parashara, Brihaspati, both heard him, and Brihaspati, both heard him. Text 9. The great sage Parashara, as aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulaksha, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas, Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. Purport. The great sage of the name Pulaksha is the father of all demoniac descendants. Once upon a time, Parashara began a sacrifice in which all the demons were to be burned to death because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. The great sage Vasishtha Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parashara to stop the deadly action and because position and respect in the community of sages, Parashara did not deny the request. Parashara having stopped the sacrifice, Pulaksha, the father of the demons, appreciated his Brahminical temperament. In the future, he would be a great speaker on the Vedic literatures called the Puranas, the supplements of the Vedas. Parashara's action was appreciated by Pulaksha because Parashara had forgiven the demons out of his Brahminical power of forgiveness. Parashara Parashara was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice, but he considered, demons are so made that they devour living creatures, men and animals. But why on that account should I withdraw by the miracle qualification of forgiveness? As the great speaker of the Puranas, Parashara first of all spoke on the Srimad Bhagavatam Purana, because it is the foremost of all the Puranas. Matrimony desired to narrate the same Bhagavatam he had heard from Parashara, and Vidura was qualified to hear it because of his faithfulness and his following the instructions received from superiors. So, Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from time immemorial by the disciplic succession, even before the time of Yasudeva. The so-called historians calculate the Puranas to be only a few hundred years old, but actually the Puranas existed from time immemorial, before all historical calculations by the mundaners and speculative philosophers. And also the Puranas, the word Puranas means ancient. Also indicated. Text 10.
It's okay. There's no issues.
Doesn't look like it's charging.
Yeah, it's not charging.
No, it doesn't look here. It should be something with a connector. Cheap connectors. Text 10. At that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu was alone, lying on his bedside. The great snake Ananta, and although he appeared to be in slumber in his own internal potency, free from the action of the external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. Purport. The Lord is eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss by his internal potency, whereas the external potency is suspended during the time of the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to dive in?
Yeah.
There.
You done?
Huh?
Finish that reading.
Finish the reading? It was short part. Without further ado.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Bhagavatam reading. So, say bye-bye to Amanda Vikram. He has to go back to work. Haribo. And hello to John. Okay, where are we? On text 11, is it?
Yeah, now text 11. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right.
Just like friend.
Translation. Just like the strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remained within the water of dissolution, submerging all the living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the self-invigorated energy called Kala. Srila Prabhupada. After the three worlds, the upper, lower and middle planetary systems merged into the water of dissolution. The living entities of all the three worlds remained in their subtle bodies by dint of the energy called Kala. In this dissolution, the gross bodies became unmanifest, but the subtle bodies existed just like the water of the material creation. Thus the material energy was not completely wound up, as is the case in the full dissolution of the material world. Okay. Text number 12. The Lord lay down for 4,000 yuga cycles, that's a lot, in his internal potency, and by his external energy he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kala Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. Hello. How are you? You got a book?
No, I just want to listen to it.
Yeah.
You can share also.
Let's share.
You can just, read.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Vishnu Purana, Kala Shakti is mentioned as avidya. The symptom of the influence of the Kala Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive results. The fruitive workers are described in Bhagavad Gita as mudhas, or foolish. Such foolish living entities are very enthusiastic to work for some temporary benefit within perpetual bondage. One thinks himself very clever throughout his life if he is able to leave behind him a great asset of wealth for his children, and to achieve this temporary benefit he takes the risk of all sinful activities, without knowledge that such activities will keep him perpetually bound by the shackles of material bondage. Due to this polluted mentality and due to material sins, the aggregate combination of living entities appeared to be bluish. Such an impetus of activity for fruitive result is made possible by the dictation of the external energy of the Lord, Kala. Anyone here working for fruitive activities?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone here working for fruitive activities?
Just came from the office.
Came to the office?
Oh, yes.
Came to the office? Came to the office? Came to the office?
Everybody is.
Well, not really an office, but
But
downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we like? So, text 13.
But if we are doing something indirectly, to do the good thing, that is, I don't know whether it's be considered as fruitful. I mean, is it? What did you ask again?
Who here is engaged in fruitive activities?
Fruitive activity. Maybe that cannot be fruitive activity if you are doing it for some good purpose.
What good purpose?
Just helping other person.
Yes and no.
Hmm?
It's nice to help other people.
Yeah, but not for the fame or anything. Not for the fame.
Everybody has to work to gain to
Yeah.
have something to do and to earn their money somehow.
Yeah.
It's how they use that money is the question. Huh?
How you use the money.
How you use the money?
Yeah.
Do you use your money for sense gratification, or do you use it to what?
That's true.
To what? What's the answer?
Me.
Do you use it for fruitive activities, your money, whatever your wealth you have, or do you use it for?
I hardly use for the fruitive activities. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying to you. I'm saying
Yeah.
that you can either use it for
Yeah.
sense gratification or
For some.
for Krishna.
Krishna. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then, if you're using, because everyone has to work and live and pay their bills and blah blah blah, whatever extra money is there,
Yeah.
if it's engaged in Maya
Yeah.
or sense gratification, then it's fruitive activities.
Yeah.
But if it's engaged in Krishna, then it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand? Okay.
But how do you suggest, spending it on Krishna? Like, is there any way where?
Yeah, there's loads of ways. So
Yes,
many ways.
Donation. No, yeah.
Well, there's not. Well, donation is one aspect, but
Yeah.
you may just do something small, like bring flowers or fruits or as an offering, or you can just give the money as a donation for a particular festival that's on.
The Sunday. Yes.
Sunday feast program.
I thought it was a metaphor for like serving anyone, like donating to Krishna. I thought it was like a metaphor.
No. You can.
Yeah,
I meant like
everyone
everyone has extra money, yeah.
Yeah, give to some.
So you can either spend it on going to the cinema, let's say, which we might do. Don't worry, I go put my hand up there and I go to the cinema.
Yeah, God is there everywhere.
So, but you can get engage that. Say, how much does it go to cinema? It's like 10, 12 euro, maybe a bit more.
Yeah. If you're a student, maybe.
12 euro could buy a bouquet of flowers, let's say, and you could offer it on the altar. So that's the difference. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got your point.
So that's being engaged in Maya or being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one or the other.
That's a
Yeah.
temporary enjoyment.
One is in temporary enjoyment,
and it's
one is everlasting.
Yeah, fulfilled.
Fulfillment, yes. So there you go. So we're all mudhas. So, number 13. Translation. The subtle subject matter of creation, on which the Lord's attention was fixed, was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. Does anyone know what that is?
What is that?
Does anyone know what that is?
It is
The subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen.
that means Brahma, creation of Brahma.
The lotus flower. Huh? Yeah. Where Brahma is born
Yeah, Brahma.
or created. Now, text number 14. Translation. Piercing through, the sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of the bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. Text number 15. Translation. Into that universal lotus flower Lord Vishnu personally entered as the supersoul, and when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This lotus flower is the universal Virat form, or the gigantic form of the Lord in the material world. It becomes amalgamated in the personality of Godhead Vishnu in his abdomen at the time of dissolution, and it becomes manifest at the time of creation. This is due to Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who enters into each of the universes. In this form is the sum total of all the fruitive activities of the living entities conditioned by material nature. And the first of them, namely Brahma, or the controller of the universe, is generated from this lotus flower. This firstborn living being, unlike all the others, has no material father, and thus he is called self-born, or Svayambhu. He goes to sleep with Narayan at the time of devastation, and when there is another creation, he is born in this way. From this description, we have the conception of three: the gross Virat form, the subtle Hiranyagarbha, and the material creative force Brahma. You want to grab some books? You want to hear me? I got a horrible voice.
As we are understanding it, it's okay.
That's okay. Are you understanding? I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, number 16. Have you not got it on your phone, no? Do you have it on your phones? This.
Yeah, it should be, but I haven't.
Alright. No problem. Text number 16. Translation. Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the whirl. He therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. Number 17. Translation. Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus, or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water, and the lotus in great circular waves. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in the solar years of human beings. No one, therefore, can know the mystery of the creation of cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. Text number 18. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, "Who am I that I am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which the lotus has grown must be within the water." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The subject matter of the speculations in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still a subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and thus tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penances and experience, it is sure to be crowned with success. If anyone has any questions, you can ask while we read. See if I can answer them. Translation. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water through that channel of the stem of the lotus, but in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the root. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By dint of one's personal endeavour, one may go nearer to the Lord, but one cannot reach the ultimate point. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanyas chasmi tatvataha. Translation. O Vidura, while saying about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel of the hand of Vishnu, and which generates fear in the mind of the living entity, like the fear of death. Text 21. Translation. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from such searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. And thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Samadhi involves concentrating the mind upon the supreme cause of all, even if one is unaware of whether his actual nature is personal, impersonal, or localized. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is certainly a form of devotional service. To cease from personal sense endeavours and to concentrate on the supreme cause is a sign of self-surrender. And when self-surrender is present, that is a sure sign of devotional service. Each and every living entity needs to engage in devotional service to the Lord if he wishes to understand the ultimate cause of his existence. You can also do that. What you just told here. Concentrate your mind on Krishna as well.
Easy job, but still try.
It's a form of devotional service. It doesn't just have to be about money.
Yeah.
You can also focus your mind and meditate.
Samadhi is almost like the ending of life, right? When someone is saying Samadhi means like in the yoga state, the body and the spirit depart from the soul, right?
No.
No, that's what I.
No, samadhi means
Yeah. What is in your?
it's like a deep, really deep meditation where you can be completely unaware of your bodily state, and your mind is just completely fixed on either the Paramatma or Krishna. Yeah, so you're not even aware of what's going on around you, or that you even have a body. You could be in that. I mean, I wouldn't say I've really experienced it myself per se, but
But the spirit can.
the soul, I suppose you could say, could leave the body, but also yes, come back.
Oh yes.
But you're on a transcendental platform.
Yeah.
So you're not in a bodily concept of life. So you're not even
Detached from
yeah,
the
you're
body.
completely detached from the body.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so easy to get there.
Mhm.
It's not so easy to get there. But with practice. But it is the highest platform of yoga. Samadhi is like the last stage of the yoga practice. So that's what all these yogis would aim for. And then they can leave the body if they want and go to wherever destination they want to go to. If they want, yeah.
And Prabhu, it is said that when somebody is in samadhi, then it depends on that. I mean, the whole situation depends on him. I mean, he can leave his body as well as he desires.
Yeah.
When he is in samadhi, so he has control of on the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether you want to leave permanently or just come back again.
But I have experienced by meditation and chanting the Maha Mantra, I've come to, maybe not samadhi, but certainly come to a level of meditation where my mind was completely fixed on Krishna. You know, I wouldn't say I was in full samadhi, but it was on a level above sort of the material body. Yeah. So I could say I've had experience of what it's like to kind of step up one step, you know, above the body by chanting, you know, in japa. Yeah. So it does work, I've noticed. But it's you gotta really, really concentrate hard.
Yeah,
So you know.
it should be quiet space. You should be in the quiet space.
Well, yeah, I think at that moment I was, yeah. I was in my bedroom actually. And it was 2:00 in the morning, so there wasn't anyone else around. They were all asleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does help to be just in by yourself with no distractions from other people or things happening around. It certainly does.
Mundane
Just life, you know, just things that have to go on as we're here. So when you're able to buy your own house or build your own house, what you need to do is have a little room that's got what do you call it? Soundproofing.
Yes.
You know, so you can't hear anyone outside, and no one can hear you. You can just be in that little space and you're just there, and you can chant as long as you want. Now, where was text number 22? Translation. At the end of Brahma's 100 years, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result he could see in his head the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with the greatest endeavour. Excuse me. Poor Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord can be experienced only through the process of devotional service, and not by one's personal endeavour in mental speculation. The age of Brahma is calculated in terms of Divya years, which are distinct from the solar years of human beings. The Divya years are calculated in Bhagavad Gita 8:17. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Vidhu. Brahma's one day is equal to 1,000 times the aggregate of the 4 yugas, calculated to be 4,300,000 years. So what's that? What's 1,000 times 4,300,000? 4,300,000,000 years is 1 day of Brahma. 12 hours of Brahma. And again, 12 hours of night is Brahma's 4 billion So it's 8,600,000 years, calculates 124 hours day of Brahma. And he lives for 100 years. So what's the calculation? Does anyone know?
10 power something.
God, I can't remember what it is now. It's
So, power of 9, 10 to the power of 9, maybe. 4.3.
What's going on in my head? It's like 400 and something trillion years of our years is equal to the whole life of Brahma. So it's like colossal. You can calculate it. So the way to calculate it is 8 billion 600 million years is one day, and there's 360. I think they calculate 365 days in a year, and multiply that by 100 again, which is 100 years, is the life of Brahma. So you'll get the calculation pretty much around the 400 billion years or something like that.
10 power 30. Trillion or 100 trillion.
Yeah, I think it's like 400 trillion years or something along those lines. Anyway, I'm sure I couldn't do it in my head, but on paper I could. On that basis, Brahma meditated for 100 years before he could understand the supreme cause of all causes, and then he wrote the Brahma Samhita, which is approved and recognized by Lord Chaitanya, and in which he sings Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. One has to wait for the mercy of the Lord before one can either render service unto him or know him as he is. So mercy is important. Getting the mercy. One or two more at least. 23. Translation. Brahma could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus-like white bedstead, the body of Sheshanag, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels bedecking the hood of Sheshanag, and that illumination dissipated all the darkness of those regions. 24. Translation. The luster of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the mountain, but the Lord's helmet, bedecked with jewels, mocked it. The mountains, waterfalls, herbs, etc., with a panorama of flowers, seem like garlands, but the Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs, decorated with jewels, pearls, tulsi leaves, and flower garlands, mocked the scene on the mountain. Does everyone understand mocked? Mocked.
You mean like
Where it looks small.
Yeah, you might say like insignificant. The beauty of the mountain was insignificant to the beauty of the Lord and his jewels and pearls and all these things. Yeah, wasn't on the same level.
What does it mean? This bedecking. This in text 23, before the last sentence is like jewels bedecking the hood of Sheshanag. What does it mean?
Oh, bedecking, like it's just being placed on the hood of Sheshanag. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The panoramic beauty of nature, which strikes one with wonder, may be taken as a perverted reflection of the transcendental body of the Lord. One who is therefore attracted by the beauty of the Lord is no longer attracted by the beauty of material nature, although he does not minimize its beauty. In Bhagavad Gita 2:59, it is described that one who is attracted by Param, the Supreme is no longer attracted by anything inferior. Okay. Yeah, maybe one more. One more. 25. His transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the 3 planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His body was self-illuminated by unparalleled dress and variegatedness, and was properly ornamented. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The length and the breadth of the transcendental body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead could only be measured by his own measurement, because he is all-pervading throughout the complete cosmic manifestation. The beauty of material nature is due to his personal beauty, yet he is always magnificently dressed and ornamented to prove his transcendental variegatedness, which is so important in the advancement of spiritual knowledge. Yeah. Everyone have a nice class?
Yes.
So we'll be back again tomorrow. 6:30 tomorrow to continue. Right? Yeah. Sorry, skip. Wrong. Is Lord Nishingadev's appearance. Everyone has to fast. No food, no water, nothing.
Yeah.
Only breathe. Samadhi. No. Yeah, there's a fat clock. Celebrating Lord Nishingadev's appearance. There'll be kirtan, there'll be feasting, there'll be dance. There'll be class. Please come. Yeah. See you, everybody. Tomorrow.